Hello, you guys. Good morning. How are you today? I hope you've had a great week so far. Today, the same. Today is going to be a big day because we're in a pre-holiday, right? We will have Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for us to take some rest, to go to the beach. We've got to be safe, right? We've got to be distanced from one another. But we're going to be relaxing this weekend. So today is a work day. Guys, you all know that next week we're going to have a test. You are doing a test next week in the entire week from Monday to Friday. And the English test is going to be held on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. You know better than me when you're going to take the English test, okay? And as we all know, our English test is based on our reading skills. So we are going to be taking a look at texts and answer some questions from these texts about these texts. Okay? So today I decided to bring a perception that we don't always have from NA. Okay? We're going to be discussing on the previous concept from NA. And we know, I decided, saiu aqui, ó, Alisson. Okay, guys, just a minute. Agora o passador não tá indo. Agora foi. Okay. So guys, I decided to bring a previous concept from NA because we know that the NA test, the NA exam itself requires us different skills from the regular university college admission tests, And now in this opening moment, we are going to be taking a look at this concept, okay? It always has, sempre é, gente. It always has more text interpretation than grammar, for example. Sempre é mais interpretação de texto. As it is in the Portuguese test, as it is in the humans, we call it humanas, né? As it is in the humanas test and so on. Okay? It is always an interpretative question. Okay? So we are going to take a look at the previous concepts from NA, and this previous concept brings a cognitive axis within all the fields areas. Okay, the knowledge fields. So the first cognitive axis brings to dominate the language itself. It doesn't matter if it is the mother tongue or the foreign language. We've got to dominate. And it has something very interesting because the language can be appeared in many different ways. It would be the mathematical one, it could be the artistical one, it could be the scientific one, or it could be the language itself, the foreign language. But it won't appear in any way. It's going to be the language. You're going to see that the language is a tool for us to have access to the modern language. We're going to be discussing here better on this topic. So we've got a competence number 2, okay, which is direct to the English exam, okay, and this competence tells us this competence is okay, we've got to have this competence so we can apply for the NA exam, okay. So competence number 2 tells us to know and to use the foreign language. And it's not in any way. It's the modern one. The modern foreign language as a tool to have access to information and about other cultural and social groups. Okay, so the language itself, our language, is a tool to have access to information, to know what the text is talking about. Okay, so we see here that this competence requires us a modern interpretation. Why is this modern, teacher? We are going to see that it's going to appear LEM, modern foreign language, língua estrangeira moderna. And this modern talks about the types of texts and the types of issues that these texts address to. Okay, so it isn't any issue, it isn't any problem, it isn't any situation that the text is going to talk about. It is a modern issue, it is a modern situation in which we are going to be discussing throughout the exam, you know? And within this competence, we've got 5 abilities required for us to take the ENEM exam, which are four abilities, sorry. Ability number 5, to associate vocábulos, guys. Vocábulos means words, okay? Vocábulos são palavras, okay? So to associate words and expressions from a text in the modern way to its theme. So the text in its modern way, it's going to bring a theme. And language, this ability requires us to have access to the words and to the expressions. Okay? It's the power of translation, for example. Right? The ability number 6, to use the modern foreign language knowledge and its mechanisms as a tool to amplify the possible access and the possible pieces of information, technologies and cultures, for example. Okay? So now this ability requires us to amplify the mechanisms. The first one was to translate. The second one is to amplify our possible knowledge on technology, on culture, on pieces of information, etc. Ability number 7, to match the text to its modern form, the linguistic structures and its function and its social use. Okay, guys? And the last one is to recognize the importance of the cultural production in the modern way as a representation of the cultural and linguistic diverse. So it's going to be appeared lots of types of text, lots of genres in which we are going to see direct speech, indirect speech, formal discourse, informal discourse. So we need to be aware at the different types of texts we are going to be taking a look at the exam. And you know that you only get prepared if we practice, okay? I brought here 2 different questions. One is from a regular university admission test, which requires us something very straightforward. I want you to know about past perfect, for example. Okay? The right answer would be letter C, the use of past perfect. And name doesn't require us grammar, direct, straightforward knowledge. It requires us to have world reading. We're going to read a text and then see what is the text talking about. What does the author mean when he came up with this word? You know? So it's way more general. And name is way more general, is way more comprehension text, as you said before, as you asked me before, than straightforward questions. Okay, so from questions from Enem, they require us world knowledge, so we can see behind the words what they are saying, what they're meaning, what is underneath the text. Okay, let's go. Now we're going to practice. Okay, guys. Enem questions, they bring, even though they bring text, even though they bring a whole text, the questions are about something very specific on the text. Okay, so we call these type of questions. So for example, in the second paragraph, we have this tool requires us to have access to information. And then the question brings, what does these two require us, for example? Okay, so we call these type of questions fact and detail questions, because they go to a very specific point. Okay? Okay, great. You may think that there is more than one possible answer, guys. Enem is a very sly test. There is one possible answer because it makes sense, because it is what the text is talking about, but it's not 100% correct. There is one answer that is completely correct, that is what is the question is asking, you know? So you might be tricky by one of the answers, but you've got to be 100% sure that that answer is the answer that the question is asking for. Okay? So we've got to be aware that there is more than one possible answer, but that answer is not completely right. It only makes sense, you know? There isn't a specific and previously determined content. So for example, for you to take an A, you don't need to study, right? An A won't require you directly present perfect, for example, past perfect, defining words, linking words. These content are going to help you to understand the text, but the question won't be straightforward. It is always a comprehension test, as I mentioned before. And let me take a look here. Não tá indo. Okay. It's a test based on different textual genres. So it's going to appear a text from a newspaper, a comic strip, a extract from a poem, extract from a literature book, okay? And practicing is the best way to get prepared. We've got to practice to get prepared properly. Unfortunately, guys, we've got to do it. And that's the reason why the school Antares provides you so many mock tests. Mock tests mean simulado, okay? So these amount of mock tests you've got, there is a reason why. And the reason why is the only thing that you are going to be prepared to take an A is by practicing. You can only be fully prepared to an A if you practice and if you get used to the type of questions you are going to be taking on an A. Okay? So here the school provides you many tests so you can be fully prepared to it. Okay? Let's move forward. Guys, here I brought here a question from 2019 Enem. And this is a very how can I say, a very good example of how it is, of how Enem requires us on our skills. So it brings a text. This text is a poem. Remember that I told you that it brings many different textual genres. So for example, there is a poem on NA, and we are going to see what is the poem talking about. What is the author mean when they say, if children live with na 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 na, okay? Let's take a look at the poem. You are going to take a look at how you should face an NA question. And then you are going to do by yourselves, and I'm going to require you to tell me the correct answer. Okay? Let's go. So this question is from NA 2019. And the text is, if children live with criticism, they learn to condemn. If children live with fear, they learn to be apprehensive. If children live with pity, they learn to feel sorry for themselves. If children live with the ridicule, they learn to feel shy. If children live with tolerance, they learn patience, and so on. They begin with some bad situations like criticism, fear, pity, ridicule, and so on. But in the end, the text ends with some good things that children learn. So for example, if children live with sharing, they learn generosity. If children live with fairness, they learn justice. If children live with kindness and consideration, they learn respect. And what is the author talking about? Let's take a look at the question, and then we see at the possible answers, okay? Então, valores culturais de povo, isso é o enunciado, okay guys? This is the enunciate. Valores culturais de povo revelam sua forma de ser, agir e pensar. Na concepção da autora, in the author's perception, what is the author meaning? As diferentes formas de educar crianças nos Estados Unidos confirmam que as crianças, letter A, temem quem as amedronta, B, aprendem com que vivem, C, amam aqueles que as aceitam, D, são gentis quando respeitadas, or E, ridicularizam quem as intimida. The only possible answer here would be letter B. They learn with what they live. If children live with criticism, what are they going to learn? They learn to condemn. If children live with recognition, what are they going to learn? They learn it is good to have a goal. Okay, so children, we have a text in which the entire text says, if children live with, they learn that. If children live with it, they learn that. And what is the question asking you to do? The question is asking you to translate. Remember the ability one, to translate. So, aprendem com que vivem. To interpret and to translate. Se vocês não souberem, if you don't know what learn means, for example, se vocês não souberem o que learn significa, you won't know how to answer this question properly. Okay? So translation here, knowledge of the language. Language here is a tool to have access to information. Remember? So, that's a very prototype. That's what the question. Was what the word I was looking for. Prototype. This type of question is a prototype for NA questions. You're going to be facing these kinds of challenge. Okay. This question is also from NA 2019. Okay, guys. And then we've got here a text which talks about the benefits that we have when we adopt pets, and the text says, a pet is certainly a great friend. After a difficult day, pet owners quite literally feel the love. In fact, so Pet is a good friend. You feel the love. This person is trying to convince you to do something. In fact, for nearly 25 years, research has shown that living with pets provides certain health benefits. So having pets provides us some benefits. What are these benefits? Such as pets help lower the blood pressure. So there are some people who had blood pressure very high, and pets get them lower. And lessen anxiety. So people feel more relaxed when having pets, right? They boost our immunity. So for the ones who think, oh, I am allergic to it, no, they boost our immunity. They can even help you get dates. Look, getting dates, having pets help us to have dates. Allergy fighters. A growing number of studies have suggested that kids growing up in a home with furred animals will have less risk of allergies and asthma. Take a look. Having pets from the beginning of your life might help you to prevent allergies and asthma. Date magnets. Dogs are great for making love connections. Forget the internet matchmaking. A dog is a natural conversation starter. So it's a common topic that people used to like it, you know? Dogs for the aged. Walking a dog or just caring for a pet for elderly people who are able can provide exercise and companionship. So for elderly people, for example, my grandma, she is 80. She is 80 years old. And she goes every day, at least twice a day, to take the dog for a walk. You know? So inevitably, she is making an exercise. By taking the dog for a walk, she's exercising herself. She's exercising her legs, her cardiac system, and so on. Okay? Good for mind and soul. Like any enjoyable activity, playing with a dog can elevate levels of serotonin and dopamine, nerve transmitters that are known to have pleasurable and calming properties. Dopamine, guys, is a hormone actually that we only feel pleasure because of dopamine. When dopamine is on our bodies, we feel the pleasure, you know? And good for the heart attack patients who have pets survive longer than those without, according to several studies. So the text here is giving us many reasons, many different reasons why we should adopt a pet, why we should have a pet. So what is the author intending to do? Let's take a look. Ao discutir sobre a influência de animais de estimação no bem-estar do ser humano, a autora, a fim de fortalecer, to get it stronger, to get her arguments stronger, utiliza palavras e expressões como research, a growing number of research, and several studies, com o objetivo de, what is her goal to bring these type of expressions? Letter A. Mostrar que animais de estimação ajudam na cura de doenças como alergia e asma. B. Convencer sobre benefícios de adoção de animais de estimação para a saúde. C. Fornecer dados sobre os impactos de animais de estimação nas relações amorosas. D. Explicar como o contato com animais de estimação pode prevenir ataques cardíacos. Or, letter E, esclarecer sobre o modo como os idosos devem se relacionar com animais de estimação. What do you think? The answer, guys, is obviously she's trying to convince us. Oh, you should have a pet because of this, this, and that. These people, these different people need to have a pet because of this, this, and that. She's trying, she's giving us reasons to have a pet. She's convincing us. Convencer sobre os benefícios. She's only giving us the benefits, the good way, the good side of having pets. Agora, now it's with you. I am going to show you a question, give you 2 minutes, and then you give me the right answer so we can discuss on, okay? Era isso que eu estava dizendo no começo, gente. No Enem, we don't have a specific content. Não tem, guys, vocês têm que estudar o present perfect, porque naquela prova vai cair sobre o present perfect. Não. Vocês têm que praticar as questões de interpretação de texto. You've got to practice the interpretative, the comprehension text questions, so you can be prepared to it. Eles precisam praticar essas questões de interpretação de texto, porque esse é o prototipo do Enem. Enem... That's it. Isso. Perfect. Great. Yes. Entenderam, gente? Era isso que eu estava falando no começo. Não tem. We don't have a specific subject for you to take Enem, for example. Não. Enem is going to bring you tests so you can interpret them and answer the questions about these texts. Okay? Okay, Tassiane? Great. Let's go. Let's move forward. I am going to show you the following questions in which you are going to read and then tell me what is the correct answer. Alison, you can turn my camera off. And then, Tassiane, eles vão te falar qual é a resposta certa. Guys, read this is a comic strip, okay? This is a comic strip. You're going to read the comic strip and then answer the questions. After you do so, we are going to analyze your answer, okay? 2 minutes. Let's go. Okay, you guys, could you do it? I've heard that some of you... Tassiane, can you tell me the names of the people? Inês? Thaís. Lorena. Okay, Thaís, Inês, Vinícius, Lorena. Okay, you all said B. Let's take a look. The cartoon, the comic strip is the following. There are two boys walking, and then one say, And then one says, when I was 5, everyone told me to be a big boy. When I was 5 years old, everyone told me, be a big boy, grow up. When I was 10, they told me I should be more mature. When I was 10 years old, people said, you should be more mature. Now, they say it's time to start acting like an adult. Now that he's a teenager, he should act like an adult. At this rate, I'll be eligible for Social Security before I graduate from high school. Guys, in this part, it's very important for us to know what Social Security is. Para a gente entender o humor dessa tirinha, we should know what Social Security is, que é aposentadoria. Ele está dizendo, nesse pacing, nesse ritmo, eu vou me aposentar antes de completar o high school, o ensino médio. So with this amount of cover, people cover them to act like an adult, to get more mature, to, I think you might relate to it since you are teenagers, right? You might relate to it. So the right answer would be letter B. No cartoon, a crítica está no fato de a sociedade exigir do adolescente que amadureça precocemente. When I was 5 to be a big boy. When I was 10 to be more mature. Now that I'm finishing the high school, I think I'll be eligible for Social Security. This cartoon has a very sticky criticism on what people require from the teenagers, right? Let's take a look at the question number 2. 2 minutes for you to do, and then we are going to come back. Alisson, fecha aqui minha câmera, so then they can answer. Okay, guys? Read the text, and then answer the question. Well then, you guys, could you do it? Could you answer? I know that some of you have already answered. Let's take a look at question number 2. I read, let's take a look at the text first, and then we're going to take a look at the question. I read a study, okay guys, is in the past. I read a study. I read a study that measured the efficiency of locomotion for various species on the planet. So this study is going to analyze the locomotion from different species on the planet, okay? The condor, a primeira species that he talked about is the condor, the bird, okay? The condor used the least energy to move a kilometer. So the condor within the other species used the least energy. He didn't take that much effort to move a kilometer. Humans came in with a rather unimpressive showing, about a third of the way down the list. So humans, while condor are like that, the least energy, humans took one of the most energy, okay, to move a kilometer. That didn't look so good, but then someone at Scientific American is a magazine, okay, is a central study that has a magazine, and it delivers some scientific studies, had the insight to test the efficiency of locomotion for a man on a bicycle. Okay, so now the first one was moving a kilometer walking, and the second test was moving a kilometer on a bicycle. The amount of effort, the amount of energy was different. Let's take a look. And a man on a bicycle blew the condor away. It overpassed the condor. That's what a computer is to me. Now it's the turning point. That's what a computer is to me. The computer is the most remarkable tool that we've ever come up with. It is the equivalent of a bicycle for our mind. Let's take a look who wrote it. The author is Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is a person involved with technology, okay? He used to be involved with technology since he died, right? And he talks about the computer. He compares actually the amount of energy that we take, our performance actually, when we walk on a bike, when we ride a bike, or when we walk, with he compares the bike for our movements with the power of computer for our minds. So let's take a look at the question. Ao abordar o deslocamento de várias espécies com base em um estudo que leu, Steve Jobs apresenta o computador como uma ferramenta que... Eles disseram qual item, Tassiana, por favor? Tassiane, por favor. Letter E, and that's it. Steve Jobs, yes, he did, unfortunately. Yes, he did. It's been 2 years, 3 years, something like that. A lição aqui não está passando, tu pode clicar aí no PowerPoint, por favor. Okay, so it's letter E indeed. Okay, guys, the computer amplifies, it gets our mind faster. The potential is better for our minds. Okay, it's a very smart comparison that he makes. He compares riding a bike, or power of locomotion by riding a bike, and how our minds works with computer. Now it works way faster, way more programs, you know. So it's very interesting how he brings this comparison. Let's take a look at question number 3, guys. 2 minutes for you to answer question number 3. Let's go. Alison, you can turn me off. Okay, guys, let's go. 2 minutes. You guys, so then could you do it? This is a very interesting one. It's a chart too, it's a comic strip too. And let's take a look. We have two boys with their guitars, right? And then one says the following. I start every song by counting 1, 2, 3, 4, as every musicians do, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, because there is a reason why. Because it reminds me of math. Math depresses me, and that helps me sing the blues. Does math depress you guys? It doesn't depress me, like directly, but I feel very confused. And by feeling confused, I got a little bit sad. Disappointed. I'm not the best one at maths, but I'm not the worst one too, right? I can do some stuff. So he says that math depresses him and that helps him sing the blues. Ao estabelecer uma relação entre matemática e o blues, a partir da opinião pessoal de dos rapazes, a charge sugere que... Alisson, tu pode clicar no PowerPoint, please? A charge sugere que, letter E, as you said, o sentimento despertado pela matemática serve como motivação para o blues. Blues is a very sad rhythm, and math helps him to sing the blues, unfortunately, right? Does any one of you feel can relate to it? I'm sure you don't, because you are all good at maths. The last one, guys, I'm going to print here. Vocês olham no finalzinho e aí fica para homework, tá bom? You do it at home. Olhem, printem a tela, and then you tell me after the break. After the break, you tell me what is the correct answer, okay? Alison, can you move the camera here? Guys, we are going to have a 15 minutes break, and then after we are going to use an online platform in which you have already used, which is called Nearpod. Então, para a próxima aula, na aula de 15 minutos depois, eu preciso que todo mundo se logue. Vocês vão ver qual é a plataforma, mas eu preciso da participação. I need your participation and involvement, okay? Let's go have this 15 minutes break. See you.